Today, we're going to talk about a crime that's as old as writing itself, forgery. But look, this isn't just about some fake signature on a high school permission slip. No, we're diving deep into a calculated lie, an act of deception so powerful it can literally tear down fortunes, corrupt entire institutions, and even shake the very foundations of a nation. So let's get into it. Let's dissect the anatomy of this lie.
I mean, it sounds like something straight out of a spy movie, right? But this question is at the absolute heart of why forgery laws are so serious. It's not just about stopping someone from cashing a fake check. It's about protecting the invisible threads of trust that hold our whole society together. Think about it. Every single official document, every piece of currency, every contract, it's a promise. And forgery is the act of turning that promise into a weapon.
So, to really see how the law fights back, we first need to understand what exactly we're fighting. Every single act of forgery, whether it's a simple fake sick note or a massive global conspiracy, it all shares the same fundamental DNA, and it's always built from two key ingredients.
Okay, so the law breaks this down into two very distinct parts. You've got the physical part, and you've got the mental part. First, there's the false creation. This is the physical act itself, the skilled hand that forges a signature, the high-tech printers spitting out fake money, or even the single keystroke that alters a digital record. It's the what of the crime. But here's the thing, a perfect copy, on its own, isn't necessarily a crime. It only becomes illegal when you pair it with the second ingredient, the intent to deceive. This is the guilty mind, the conscious choice to use that fake thing to trick someone, to defraud them. You've got to have both. Without the intent, a beautifully copied painting is just a tribute, it's art. But with that intent, it's a criminal act.
Now let's see how these ideas play out in the real world, starting with what the law calls crimes against personal trust. These are the forgeries that hit closest to home. They're the ones that create these huge ripples in our personal and professional lives because they target the very records that govern our day-to-day existence.
And this is where the law makes a really fascinating distinction. It all depends on the target of the lie. So on one hand, you have forging a private document, like a will or a business contract. The law sees that as kind of like a surgical strike. It's aimed at a specific person or a specific family. But forging a public certificate, let's say a fake doctor's note or a birth certificate, that's a whole different ballgame. That lie doesn't just harm one person, it actually erodes the integrity of the entire system. It makes all of us start to wonder, can we trust any doctor's note? Can we trust any official document? You see the difference? One's an attack on a person, the other is an attack on the system of trust itself.
So what's the actual penalty for this kind of lie? Well, get this. Knowingly using a false certificate, that carries a maximum penalty of just 30 days. Now, that might seem kind of small, right? But what the law is doing here is establishing a crucial baseline. It's setting a starting price for abusing public trust. And believe me, from this point on, the stakes are only going to get higher.
Okay, so we've gone from personal trust. Now the stakes escalate to something much, much bigger. Crimes against the economy. Here, we're moving away from lies that deceive individuals to lies that can poison a nation's entire financial bloodstream. You should think of counterfeit currency like a virus. It spreads silently, creating chaos and eroding the value of every single real dollar in your pocket.
Now, if you look at this table of penalties, it basically gives you a roadmap of what the state protects most fiercely. Just watch the progression. Faking foreign coins? That's serious, about 2.4 years. But faking local Philippine coins? The penalty nearly doubles. Why? Because that's a direct attack on the home economy. And then look at that massive jump from coins to paper notes. It all culminates with the penalty for forging Philippine banknotes. We're talking almost 15 years. This hierarchy is anything but random. It's a perfect reflection of the potential for catastrophic harm.
So what's the big takeaway here? This reveals the law's #1 goal. It's not just about punishing theft. It's about preserving public faith. You know, money only has value because we all agree it does. That's it. It's a shared belief. Counterfeiting attacks that fundamental belief. And when the currency under attack is your own country's, well, that's an existential threat to your economic stability. That huge penalty is basically the government declaring that the integrity of its currency is a cornerstone of national security.
We've seen crimes against people, we've seen crimes against the economy, and now we arrive at the absolute apex of forgery. This is where the lie isn't about stealing money or tricking a person anymore. This is about attacking the very idea of government. It's about impersonating the state's ultimate authority, its legitimacy.
You know, a nation's Great Seal is so much more than just an intricate little stamp. It is the physical embodiment of the state's sovereign power.
When that seal is stamped on a document, it is the government itself speaking, declaring something to be undeniably true. It's the government's signature on reality. So to counterfeit that seal, that's an act of profound rebellion. You're essentially trying to steal the government's voice and use it to speak your own lies.
And this chart right here, this says it all. Attacking the nation's economy with fake banknotes? That'll get you almost 15 years. But attacking the ultimate symbol of the state's authority, the Great Seal, that is punished even more severely. We're talking a maximum of 20 years. The message from the law could not be clearer. As incredibly damaging as economic sabotage is, the crime of trying to usurp the state's very identity is considered the most severe forgery of them all.
Okay, but the law takes one last, really clever step. It recognizes that a crime doesn't just start with the finished lie. It starts way back with the preparation. So the law goes after the forger's toolkit itself.
This idea is absolutely fascinating. It's basically a pre-crime. You don't have to successfully forge a single banknote. You don't have to pass off a single fake coin. Simply making the tools, the special stamps, the metal dies, or even just having them with the intent to commit forgery is in itself illegal. It's the legal equivalent of stopping a burglar while they're still at home crafting a lockpick, long before they've even found a house to break into.
And this brings our whole journey full circle, doesn't it? We started with those two pieces of any forgery, the physical act and the criminal intent. Well, punishing the possession of forgery tools is the ultimate expression of that idea. Here, the law is laser-focused on the intent, even before the damaging act has a chance to happen. It recognizes that the moment someone builds a machine that is designed purely for deception, the lie has already started to take shape.
You know, these laws were written for a world of paper and ink, of metal stamps and physical wax seals. But the core principles, protecting trust, protecting authenticity, protecting the very idea of truth, man, they are more relevant today than ever before. In our age of artificial intelligence, of deep fakes and widespread digital disinformation, the implements of falsification, they're not just stamps and dies anymore. They're algorithms, they're lines of code. And it leaves us with this massive question: what is the modern Great Seal? What's the new thing we have to protect at all costs? Is it our biometric data? Our DNA? Is it the blockchain? Maybe it's just that little verified checkmark on social media. Whatever it is, protecting it from the modern forger, well, that is one of the biggest challenges of our time.